Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of our Beyond Stigma series, focusing on Middle Eastern and North African representation in the media, where we delve into conversations with individuals who have worked in the arts and entertainment industries to understand more about their thoughts and experiences. Today, we are joined by a very special guest, Ms. Jalleh Alizadeh. Jalleh is a British Iranian actor who has worked across the industry in theatre, TV, and radio for almost 10 years. She trained at Identity Drama School in London and made her professional stage debut at the Birmingham Rep in 2014, leading to a love of theatre especially. Thank you so much for being here, Jalleh.
Thank you so much for having me.
No problem. So as a starting question, we've been asking this to most of our guests, but what encouraged you to pursue a career in this industry?
It was just a love really for the art. I'd always been really interested in storytelling and reading stories, telling stories, and when I discovered drama at school, that was just something that I just fell in love with. And it's funny really because there wasn't anybody like me that I saw on TV. So I guess it kind of I thought it was something very unattainable, and it was something that I just put to the back of my head for a while. And then I think when you've got a passion for something and there's just this like fire in your belly that won't go out, and I left school, I left university, and I thought, you know what, I need to pursue this. I want to get back into it. And I discovered Identity Drama School, which was a real blessing actually, because it really teaches you to celebrate your backgrounds and your heritage. And so that filled me with so much confidence, to just go ahead and try and pursue a career.
Oh. And so when you did start off with that, you said that did you do a different course at uni not related to drama and theatre?
I did, yeah. So, well, I did English. I did English and drama, but it was very much more theory based. Rather than any kind of practical element, And then, I got in touch with some friends that were doing like amateur theatre and kind of sort out work in the industry myself before I attended the drama school.
Right, okay. It's good to hear that you like followed your dream anyway in the end, because I feel like a lot of people, especially from the MENA background, because like you said, there's not a lot of people like you in the media, it kind of makes you more scared to go towards all of that and to actually put your foot through the door and, but I think it's great that you did.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. I think it just, you don't feel represented, do you? And you just feel like, there's no role models. And I think that's so important, especially as a young person. It's so important to have a role model. And when you don't have that, it's quite scary. It's a scary thing to try and kind of feel like you're the first person that's, going to take this risk and do it. But I'm so glad that because I think it always just would have been in my head and, a regret basically. And I'm just so glad that, I did decide to do it.
That actually brings me on to my next question. So talking about role models, do you have any role models in this industry that you look up to before you started or even now, if you have any?
I think I always refer to Salma Hayek, because when I found out that she was part Middle Eastern, so I think she's Lebanese, I think her father is Lebanese, that was like the closest thing that I'd ever, in Hollywood, like a famous actor, she was the closest thing to anywhere near where I'm from that was on television, that was an actor and, was starring in films. And so, and then I think I had the same kind of feeling with Shakira. I know she's music, but I was like, oh, she's Middle Eastern, wow. And I think the fact that we're so bowled over and we're so excited when we find out that these people are, have Middle Eastern heritage, or, is testament to the fact that it's not very frequent that we see ourselves, in the spotlight, and we're not given that chance, especially in portrayed in a positive light. So for me, growing up, Salma Hayek was, yeah, she was queen. She's still queen. But I mean, like, closer to home, people that just doing really well that didn't go to a prestigious drama school, people like Letitia Wright, that again, she came from Identity Drama School. Daniel Kaluuya, like, he's just an amazingly, and they've, you know, they didn't go to prestigious drama schools, they've just kind of, it's just a raw talent, and they were given an opportunity and they've kind of took hold of it, and yeah, they're all the way in Hollywood, like at the top of their game. So now, like, yeah, they're role models, like they're people that I just, wow, you know, it just blows me away, really.
Yeah. And it's interesting how you mentioned, you know, Salma Hayek and Shakira, because up till a while ago, I mean, I always knew Shakira was mixed race, but I never knew Salma Hayek was. I always thought she was South American. And I think it's because, like, even with Shakira, a lot of people just assume they're South American, and because that's how the media kind of portrays them. You know, they really bring out their Latino side. And I mean, when people find out they're actually half Middle Eastern, they just get so shocked.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. It's just not celebrated in the same way, is it? I just think, I mean, even in the language that we use and the connotations around, you know, someone being Middle Eastern and someone being South American are very different, you know, and these are things that kind of perpetuate images and perpetuate ideals of and ideas of what a Middle Eastern, North African person may be. Yeah.
Because it kind of just goes back to maybe they have this vision of what they look like, and when they look at Shakira or Salma Hayek, that's not the image in their head.
Oh yeah, 100%. And you know, for me especially, that is something that I feel so passionate about, because I have literally had like casting directors that I am pretty sure have never been to the part of the world that I am from say to me, well, you don't look Iranian. Oh, you don't look Iranian.
Oh my.
You know, and it's like, wow. And it's kind of it's a really hard cycle to break, because I'm guessing they're receiving the images of what a Middle Eastern person might look like, or what, you know, I mean, my heritage is Iranian, what an Iranian person may look like from what they see on TV, right? And we learn a lot, we're socialized a lot through what we see on TV, through the media. And then so they have this image, and then they're actually casting people in more stuff that is going to be shown, that is going to socialize and teach more people. And it's just reinforcing a stereotype of what a person from that part of the world may look like. Yeah, so again, that's another thing that really frustrates me. Like, oh, if you don't look typically, but what is typically Middle Eastern? What is typically Iranian? What's typically Arab? What's typically North African? You know, what? Like, so I think there's a lot of work to be done there as well. A lot of work to be done there. I think we all need to feel represented. And yeah, stereotypes need to stop kind of being reinforced through TV and media.
Yeah. And what you say with the whole casting directors telling you that you don't look Iranian, but the only way they can think of what an Iranian looks like is through the negative portrayals of Iranians in TV.
Yeah,
it's like a cycle, because that's not actually what Iranians look like, you know, not always. Iranians and Middle Easterns overall, and North Africans, they all look very different. Like, you know,
yeah,
it's a very broad region, and to have the mindset of you don't look Iranian, so you can't play this role is.
Yeah, exactly. And actually, like, it's a huge melting pot of different races and backgrounds and heritage, and that should be celebrated. That is so beautiful. Like, that is so beautiful and amazing to me. And why isn't that celebrated? Like, why isn't that being shown in the Western world? And like you say, it's a cycle, so it just keeps getting, you know, reinforced. Yeah, which is super unfortunate.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, there was a certain TV show that was it was filmed in like a fictional Middle Eastern land. And I had many auditions for this show, and I was like, yes, I'm starting on this one, I'm gonna get this one, I'm gonna get. And they just I don't know what it was anyway, they just couldn't place me. And I've actually never played a Middle Eastern person on screen or theatre actually, but I have done in like radio plays. So for me, that's like testament that, oh, you don't fit the look, the visual of what we want to portray, but you know, you can fulfill the kind of characterization of the person. It's frustrating.
I mean, that does sound frustrating, especially if you want to play like a Middle Eastern role, and you are Middle Eastern, so you should have the right to play it. You know, that's so unfair. And you know, with that role that you're talking about, that was set in like the story was like in a fictional Middle Eastern country. Did they end up recruiting people and casting people from a Middle Eastern background?
To be fair, they did, some of them, but there was others that no, they weren't, but they fit the visual of the dark hair, dark eyes, paler skin, you know, just the visual that they had. And also, you know, I think it's also important, like, to be educated, like the people that are in control of whoever is portraying these characters on screen or on stage, or, you know, or even journalists and people in the media, like they need to be educated on the difference. We are so very different. There's many different cultures, and you know, within that part of the world, I mean, like, you know, you're Iranian, I'm Iranian, but a lot of people would say, oh, so you're Arabic, or you speak Arabic.
Get that
no, we don't. And why don't we deserve to be acknowledged for, you know, it's just, it's crazy. I mean, actually just recently, the Persian New Year last month, it was the first time that it was acknowledged on I think it was like the national news. It was the 10 o'clock news, and it was acknowledged that, oh, today's, you know, first day of spring and it's Persian New Year. And wow, it was like all of my family group chats were just pinging off with like videos that, like, my mom took a video and sent it, like, wow, it's on TV, like they gave us a little shout out. And again, it's testament to how rare something like that is, and how we are, you know, something is a story is being told on TV about us that doesn't have kind of any negative elements attached to it.
Yeah. I mean, I completely agree. Being Iranian, and even, you know, my Iranian family, every time we see something about Iran that's just celebrating the culture or talking about art or, you know, positive things, we get so excited, you know, as I think, and it's so cute, because I think it's just so sad because we've been so used to just such a negative portrayal of us, especially like political, on the news and even in movies and TV shows. And it's just so sad that, you know, we don't get any positive portrayal.
I mean, my mum, she loves all the soaps, and she loves EastEnders, and like we're watching the credits, and you know, as an Iranian as well, you can just recognize Iranian names. They just stand out straight away. Then we like Google, and we're like, oh wow, his father's Iranian, you know, like he's Iranian. Every time he comes up, Iranian, that's and yeah, it is just so exciting, and so we need more of it.
100%. And talking about names, I mean, we had a discussion with someone else the other day. It came to my mind, and I thought I should ask more people about this. But, you know, your name is very Iranian, you know, Jalleh Alizadeh. Have you come across like any like casting directors or anyone that have said to you like you need to change your name or anything like that?
I haven't, no. There was a period for me where it was very frustrating, because when I first entered this industry, I had people say to me, oh, you're very ethnically ambiguous, so it's great, you can play, you know, a bunch of different roles and types of people. And I soon realized that actually it was more of a detriment, because people have this stereotypical view of what a English white person should look like, what a Middle Eastern person should look like. I didn't fit exactly into those square boxes that they had designed for each of these people. So, okay, I'm not landing the Middle Eastern roles because I don't fit their look of what a Middle Eastern a person should look like. But I feel like my name's giving off very Iranian vibes to these casting directors. So they might be a little bit hesitant to cast me as like a Caucasian role.
Oh, right.
So there was a while, like for about 6 months, where I did change my name just to like an English name, I guess, just to see if that would help. Yeah, but I don't really think it made much difference. I mean, I feel like I didn't properly commit to it. It just didn't sit right with me. But actually, no, nobody has ever said that. And I think also coming from identity, they were very passionate about being proud of who you are. Your name, wow, it's so important, isn't it? Like it's your name. It carries a whole heap of things with it. And I think the older that I've gotten and the more passionate that I've got about, you know, representation of us, the more I never ever want to change my name.
Yeah. That's good to hear, because I feel like a lot of people do end up feeling pressured to change their name to suit a more Western, you know, narrative, which is really sad. But I'm glad to hear, you know, you say it hasn't affected you as much. And so you've done a lot of different projects. And have you worked with a lot of people from the MENA region or even from an Iranian kind of background?
So I mentioned that I'd done a couple of radio plays that were set. One was set, I believe, maybe in a fictional Middle Eastern land. Another one was a Syrian radio play. And so everyone that worked on that project was from a MENA background. And there's just a different level of, it's just a different energy because you don't often get to work with people from the same background as you. So, so where are you from then? Oh, I'm Egyptian. Or where are you from? Oh, you know, I'm from Afghanistan. And I'm like, oh, I'm Iranian. Like, oh, you know that food? Oh yeah, I have that food. Or it's just, yeah, and it's lovely. Like I loved working on those projects because you really feel seen. And I think that's it, you know, you feel seen, you feel understood. And it doesn't usually happen. Like if it was and you know, again, I think it's testament to how underrepresented we are, because that would never happen on, like, say, not a normal production, but a production that was just about, I don't know, a family that owned a shop, for instance. You know, why couldn't there be a bunch of MENA actors acting that, and it wasn't about them being from a MENA background? Do you see what I mean? Like, why does it have to be a play about, why does the theme or the topic have to be about the Middle East for them to use the Middle Eastern actors? I think is what I'm trying to say. So only literally in those in those circumstances did I work with people from a MENA background.
What you say is interesting about why do you have to, you know, why does the whole story have to revolve around being MENA to cast someone that's MENA? And that's so true, because, you know, while I think it's great to, you know, as a MENA individual myself, I'm just saying this as myself, obviously other people have different views, but I feel like personally for me, if I was to watch a show or a movie about MENA and someone in a MENA region, and it's all based on that, I think that's great. But sometimes it's just good to want to watch a normal TV show about someone's normal life, but have a MENA actor or MENA actress play that role. And I feel like, do you think that maybe people in this industry assume that when we talk about representation, we just mean to cast MENA actors for MENA roles, or do you think they see that we're talking about just sometimes we just want a normal storyline and have more representation like that?
Yeah, I'm not sure really. I'm not sure, because I think there's two sides to that. one side is, yes, of course, there needs to be way more stories about people from MENA backgrounds, because we're here, we are still quintessentially British. I'm as British as, you know, my neighbor that lives across the road. Like, I was born here. I like, it's real life, so why shouldn't that be represented on television? And not in a negative, not something, you know, portrayed in a negative light. And also, of course, you know, people from MENA backgrounds need to be given the chance. They need to be auditioned for things that are just for, I don't know, a generic role, whether it be, you know, a Caucasian role or not. Like, why can't we? Because unless it's, you know, essential to the script that person must be, you know, white British, then why not? Why do we have to wait for it to be a storyline about I don't know, something about religion, or for us to be considered? So I think there's a long way to go with that. And I think casting directors, it starts with writers. Like, the stories need to be told, the narratives need to be told, and the casting directors then, yeah, they hold a lot of weight when it comes to who we see on screen.
Yeah, I want to go back to what you were saying about your time at Identity Drama School, and how you were saying that they were very vocal about representation and all these kinds of things. Do you want to tell us more about that?
Yeah, so it's actually it's a part-time drama school that was founded. The guy that founded it, his sole purpose was to give people from the Black community a chance on screen or on stage. He wanted to see, you know, himself represented. And so it was actually, a drama school, first of all, for ethnic minorities, that kind of started to open up to different ethnic minorities, I guess. So yeah, they always kind of kept that ethos that be proud of who you are, be proud of your differences, be proud of your heritage, and almost like, you know, use that as your USP kind of thing. And it was great. Like, it really was. It was great to feel seen. It was great to have those differences celebrated, I guess, and kind of be around like-minded people. Although there still wasn't many people from a MENA background. I mean, I went in it was around 2014, but I'm sure now that, you know, there's a bunch more people from a MENA background that are attending. But yeah, I mean, they did great things, hence the name Identity. So they really wanted you to be proud of it and own it. There's only one you, right? So yeah, so that was really refreshing, actually, really refreshing.
That's so nice to hear, because I feel like a lot of times with theatre schools as well, you do find that most of the time when you go there, it's, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like a very Western, you know, very English, maybe more people from a whiter background go to these schools. So it's like you said, it sounds refreshing to be somewhere with more minorities and more people from different backgrounds.
100%. Yeah. And I think, again, that is another problem. You know, it starts with drama schools as well, because everything is relative, you know, like, unless you're from 9 times out of 10, unless you come from one of these prestigious drama schools, you're probably not going to get signed with like a top 3 agent in the UK. Unless you're with a top 3 agent, you're probably not going to be seen for big projects that are gonna, you know, it's going to be seen by a lot of people. Oh, you're completely right. Like, they need to open their eyes a little bit more and look a little bit wider, like cast the net a little bit further, and get big, because this is it's real life now. Like, there are plenty of people from MENA background that are living in the UK. So why aren't we seen on screen? Like, why aren't we represented? So yeah, it needs to go right back really to probably 2 drama schools as well.
Yeah. And you know, you were talking about the prestigious drama schools, but they're very expensive, aren't they? They're not like easy to go to for not everyone can just pay for it.
Yeah, exactly. Very expensive. And even if, you get help, or there might be certain scholarships, or okay, fair enough. And then you come out of drama school and you have to be available at the drop of a hat to go to an audition. But you also have to survive. So you need a job. So you need to find a job that gives you flexibility to go to these auditions at the drop of a hat. But still know that you've got that security of going back to your survival job. And it's a shame because so many people, and if you look as well, so many people from minority backgrounds, ethnic backgrounds, don't get past the first few years because they can't afford it. So again, it's people that are from privileged backgrounds that get to give this career, and that get to give a career in this industry a shot because they have got the support from their family. They've got financial support from their family where they might not have to have a survival job, and they've got all the freedom to prepare for auditions and take time off last minute for auditions. And it's a tough gig. Like it's not easy at all. So yeah, it's a tricky one.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And I think the reason why a lot of maybe MENA people might want to avoid going into this industry is because it takes such a long time and a lot of effort to get those roles and get that security. So if from the beginning they're kind of letting more people from different backgrounds in and getting that representation, that they're going to get more and more people through the door in the future as well, it seems.
Yeah, exactly, definitely. And then it's like, if we talk about like ratios of how many auditions there might be available, because I can't remember the exact number, but I think it's something like for every 20 auditions you go to, then that you'll land the one kind of thing. But for somebody, I don't know, a Caucasian male, for instance, there's so many scripts, there's so much stuff for them to be seen for, so they're just like being seen all the time. For a person from a MENA background, you're lucky if there's a script that comes through the door like once a week that you possibly could be cast for, which again goes back to why can't we be cast in other stuff that's not related to our heritage.
Yeah. And if you're saying you have to apply audition for 20 to land one, and there's just not 20 things to apply for in the first place, then I can see why it's difficult and tricky. You were saying about not being able to land those kind of MENA roles because they don't think you look Iranian enough. So the roles that you have then, like I know you've done a role on Benidorm, which is really interesting. It's really interesting because Benidorm's quite a very stereotypical English kind of show. And did you have to play an English role for that?
It was, yeah. So it was an English role. It was nothing to do, with any kind of background. Right. It was more just, I think about like comedic timing more than anything. Right, okay. So yeah, that wasn't,
This is another quite broad question, but after everything we've just spoke about, how has all of this affected and shaped your identity in your career?
Yeah, I think at the start it was a problem with confidence. I think I didn't have the confidence to go ahead and pursue a career in this industry because, like I say, I didn't see myself or anyone else like me on TV. I didn't think it was attainable. So sometimes I think that like set me back a few years as well. And I think if I didn't have those problems with my confidence, then it would have, I don't know, I feel like I probably could have propelled myself a bit further, a bit sooner. Going to identity was definitely a kind of beacon of light for me. And that was a big turning point for me. And that was like, that I needed that. That was such a blessing for me. Like, it was almost like fate just handed me that. Yeah, I discovered this school that I needed to go to, because I needed to feel proud of who I was and where I was from, in my rightful place in this industry. And now I think it's just made me way more determined to tell our stories and show our faces on screen, and negate any kind of political negative propaganda that is, you know, continually perpetuated, and the stereotypes are continually perpetuated, you know, on our screens, and teach people. And, you know, like, I'm so passionate about where I'm from and my background, and the richness of our history and our culture, and, you know, and actually our art as well. Like, we are phenomenal at making films and poetry. Yeah, so it's just made me more proud. I'm very proud, actually, and I'm just more determined to get our stories out there.
Yeah. Oh, that's so nice to hear. And I completely agree, you know, both, you know, Iranian culture, but also just Middle East and North Africa. There's just so much culture and so much, you know, we come from backgrounds which have always done amazing in the arts. You know, if you look at our, you know, history as well, there's just so much there, and it's just such a shame to not be able to show that, because people don't know enough about us, and people don't want to give us that platform. But you know, it's people like you and other people in this industry that are speaking about it and want to, you know, make a change. That's the most, you know, that's really important. And I think it's really, really great that you managed to gain that confidence after going to that the school that you mentioned, and you know,
Yeah,
that's kind of pushed you to speak up about these things as well.
yeah, definitely, yeah. Yeah, it's just beautiful, isn't it? Like, and it's just, you want to share it with everyone, and we're all like this gorgeous melting pot of different backgrounds and experiences, and it would just, I mean, I know I'm dreaming here, but it would just be, yeah, gorgeous in real life and on screen if we all just celebrated that. Yeah, it really would. So that's what I hope for in the future.
Yeah. So actually that brings me up to my last question and the closing question. I mean, you've kind of touched on it just now, but what do you think can be done in the future to ensure better representation in the media and in this industry overall?
Yeah, I think education around you know, we around MENA people, our backgrounds, the differences between us as well and people from that part of the world, more storytelling from us, just, yeah, more inclusion and diversity. We touched on the drama school thing, casting us in roles that aren't related to anything kind of MENA related. Just not seeing us as a tick box, you know, not seeing us as a tick box, like, oh, we need to mix it up a little bit here, we need like someone, you know, from that's a bit ethnically diverse, we'll just get her in. Or even on, you know, agencies. I mean, I've been signed with a couple of agents before that I feel like they've just signed me because they just want to have that one, you know, Middle Eastern girl or ethnically ambiguous girl for if something comes up, kind of thing. Yeah, and just be kind of included more. Yeah,
I mean, I couldn't agree more. And you know, it's good to have people like you talk about it and hopefully bring this to light in the future. And hopefully all the little girls and boys from MENA regions can look up to people like you and, you know, see that that's the way forward and that they can make it into this industry as well.
Yeah, and it's amazing that you guys are providing this platform for us to have like conversations about this. I think, you know, the more conversations that we have, the better that it's going to get, and the more awareness that we can create. So yeah, so thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you so much. Thank you for being here. I really, really enjoyed this discussion, and
me too.
I really enjoyed talking to you. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
I will put all of Jalleh's social media platforms in the description box. And yeah, hopefully we can speak to each other very, very soon.
Yeah, I'd love that. Yeah, Take care.